They said he couldn't do it. They said the mountain was too high, the weather too dangerous, and his dream too impossible. But those words didn't scare Arav anymore, because he had already faced something far worse than any mountain could offer: failure. Arav had been chasing success all his life. He wanted to be someone his parents could be proud of, someone his friends could admire. But life had other plans. After losing his job, failing his business, and drifting away from the people he loved, he felt like a man without direction. Every morning he'd wake up and stare at his reflection, wondering when things had gone wrong. It was during one of those lonely mornings that he saw a video online about a group of climbers preparing to scale a massive mountain called Trishul Peak. Something about it caught his attention. It wasn't just the beauty of the snow or the danger of the climb. It was the silence. The climbers looked free, untouched by the noise of the world. And in that moment, Arav thought to himself, maybe that's what I need. A mountain to climb. Something real. Something that doesn't lie. People laughed when he told them his plan. You? Climb a mountain? They mocked. You can't even climb out of your own problems. Their words stung, but deep inside, Arav knew this was about more than a mountain. It was about proving to himself that he still had strength left, that he wasn't too broken. He sold his old motorbike, bought second-hand gear, and joined a small team of amateur climbers preparing for the Trishul expedition. The first day of training almost broke him. The altitude hit like a punch, his lungs burned, and his legs trembled with every step. The instructor, a weathered man named Rohan, looked at him and said, "You can quit now, or you can take one more step. The choice is yours." Arav wanted to quit. He really did. But something inside whispered, "Just one more step." And that became his rule. No matter how hard it got, no matter how much pain screamed through his body, he would always take one more step. Days turned into weeks. Arav trained relentlessly, waking before dawn, hiking for hours, pushing through freezing winds. There were times he collapsed to his knees, exhausted, questioning why he was even doing this. But then he'd look up at the towering peaks and remember, because I promised myself I wouldn't quit this time. Finally, the day came. The team stood at the base of Trishul Peak, 7,000 meters of brutal beauty. The air was thin, the sky a sharp blue, and the wind roared like a warning. As they began their ascent, Arav felt both fear and excitement. Every step forward was a battle. The higher they climbed, the colder it got. The air thinned, breathing became harder. Nights were sleepless and freezing. Some climbers started showing signs of altitude sickness. Arav's fingers went numb, his lips cracked. His body screamed for rest, but he refused to give in. One night, as the group set up camp halfway up the mountain, a blizzard hit without warning. The wind howled so loud it drowned out their voices. Tents tore apart, supplies scattered, visibility dropped to zero. For hours they held on to whatever they could find, praying they wouldn't be swept away. By dawn, the storm finally stopped. Arav opened his eyes to a world buried in snow. Half the team had decided to turn back. It was too dangerous to continue. But when Rohan asked Arav what he wanted to do, he looked at the peak, barely visible through the clouds, and said quietly, "I've come this far. I'm not turning back now." So he continued, just him, Rohan, and 2 others. The climb got steeper, more brutal. The air cut into his lungs like knives. His muscles screamed. His mind begged him to stop. There was a moment, near the summit, when Arav slipped. His boot lost grip, and he dangled from the rope over a sheer drop. Panic surged through his veins. He could hear his own heartbeat, loud and desperate. Rohan shouted, "Hold on, Arav! Don't look down!" He wanted to scream, but his voice was gone. With every ounce of strength left, he clawed his way back to the ledge. When he finally pulled himself up, his hands were bleeding, his breathing ragged. But he was alive. Lying there on the ice, staring at the endless white sky, Arav realized something. All his life, he had been waiting for someone else to pull him up. His boss, his family, his friends. But this time, he had saved himself. And that changed everything. 2 days later, he reached the summit. The world below looked tiny, silent, distant, almost unreal. Tears froze on his cheeks as he stood there, holding the small flag he'd carried all along. He whispered, "I did it. I really did it." But in that quiet moment, something unexpected happened. He realized the climb wasn't about reaching the top. It was about who he became along the way, the man who didn't quit when everything told him to. Standing on that peak, Arav didn't feel like a hero. He felt human, raw, strong, and at peace. And for the first time in years, he felt proud of himself. When he came back home, people asked him about the mountain. "Was it scary?" they said. "Yes," he replied, "but not as scary as living without purpose." They asked, "Was it hard?" He smiled. The climb was hard, but staying broken would have been harder. From that day, Arav's life began to change. He didn't suddenly become rich or famous, but he carried something much more powerful: belief. The kind of belief that no storm, no failure, no voice of doubt could ever take away. Months later, he was invited to speak at a small gathering. He stood on stage, nervous but confident, sharing his story. When he finished, a young boy walked up to him and said, "Sir, I want to climb my own mountain too. Not a real one, but my life feels like one." Arav smiled and said, "Then take one step, just one step today. That's how it begins." That's how it always begins. Every person watching this, listening to this, remember, your mountain might not have snow or cliffs. It might be your job, your health, your fears, your dreams. But it's still a mountain. And just like Arav, all you need to do is take one more step. Don't quit halfway. Don't listen to the voices that say you can't. Because the truth is, the hardest climbs build the strongest souls. And when you finally reach your summit, when you look back at everything you went through, you'll realize it was never about the view at the top. It was about becoming the person who had the courage to keep climbing when everyone else gave up. So keep climbing, keep fighting, keep believing. Because your mountain, whatever it is waiting to show you who you truly are. If this story touched your heart, make sure to subscribe for more stories like this, and comment below what mountain you're climbing right now. Because sometimes, sharing your climb might give someone else the strength to start theirs.